Hey, it's Jen Vax with YourColorStyle.com, and in this video I would like to talk with you about olive skin tone. Just a few days, couple weeks before this video, I had posted a video about skin tone, and I had talked about skin tone, skin color, and undertones, and there was an overwhelming response and request to do a little bit more explanation around olive skin tone specifically. So that is what this is going to be about, and I hope that if you are someone that has olive skin tone, that this will be helpful for you. So I have 4 photos of individuals that either have all claimed to have olive skin tone or I've found the image. So these first 2 you actually may have seen already in color analysis case studies. If not, you will soon out on this channel. And then I just posted a case study on the woman on the left. She's very light olive skin with a dominant yellow overtone. And so there's that video on the channel as well. You can find her. And the woman on the right is a stock image, but I grabbed it because she's just, to me, so obviously olive skin tone. It's got that greenish kind of quality to it. So I would like to talk about a few things. Number one, I want to explain to you how I believe this greenish effect, if you will, the skin tone is kind of created and what it means. And then we'll go into colors that you should avoid if you have these qualities, if you're looking for colors that flatter you. And I know with olive skin tone, there are some colors that kind of can make you look a little sallow. So we're going to talk about colors to avoid and colors to try and wear. Okay, so the first part of this video, we're going to talk about just understanding undertones and skin tone. And this is going to look very similar to the previous video I posted about skin tones, but we're gearing it now towards olive skin tone and dominant yellow skin tone. This is a skin tone chart that I shared in the previous skin tone and undertone video. And if you can imagine that there's no undertones to consider right now, just the skin color. If you are lighter skinned, your skin color is probably somewhere between a yellowy beige to peach to pink, somewhere in there. And then I realize this is just for lighter skin tone individuals, so your skin may be darker. But imagine that this is kind of what your skin would look like without undertones. Okay, so I'm sure not exactly, but stick with me. Since we're talking now about dominant yellow and olive skin tones, I've shifted this chart to target specifically this conversation. And so now imagine that if you are lighter skinned, your skin could be yellow or close to yellow, a light yellow, through beiges, warm beiges to peaches to pink. Okay, so if you're lighter skinned, your skin might look like that. And then we have undertones. If you have warm undertones, you have, imagine a yellow kind of current below your skin. And if you have cool undertones, imagine a blue current underneath your skin. So when you combine them, when you layer your skin over your undertones, you're going to get what your eye sees today when you're looking at someone. It's the result of your skin tone and your undertones. So notice on the very far left, when we layered over these seemingly warm tones over blue, we get cool pinks, cool beige, and olive, a very light pale olive skin tone. That's what someone with cool undertones might have. And so these blue base pinks here, all the way to what might be considered a neutral beige, all the way to this pale olive green, are all created from cool undertones. If you lay this over the yellow, the warmer undertones, you start to see these really warm peachy colors, golden colors, and then a very, very dominant yellow. Now, what is very misleading and can be very confusing is that if you are dominantly yellow, meaning that well beyond golden, it's not going to feel like you necessarily have warm undertones. In fact, you may not, but because you're so dominantly yellow, and maybe technically you do have warm undertones, the colors that you choose to wear may be different than anybody else that has warm undertones because it's a little bit unique. So when you're on this far left spectrum for dominant yellow or for olive green, your color choices are going to be different than someone that isn't dominant like that. Here is a few shades of the color. So I want to make sure that the darker skinned individuals are included. It wasn't an intention for me not to include you, by the way. It was just to explain the concept. But your skin, as it gets darker, laid over those yellows, for example, you can see here that you can actually get to this warm olive green on the left hand side. And as we go a little bit darker here, just to demonstrate, you even with a darker brown, you can still kind of get that olivey skin, but it's like a warm olive. And it's a little bit trickier than if you were, say, right here in the middle. Okay, and so you may still have warm undertones, but the colors that you're going to wear that flatter you might be slightly different than someone that's right here in the middle going to the right. And then for the cool undertones, with the darker skin, you can see that we've got these magenta-based pinks and browns, cool beiges, and these olive greens. And if you go a little bit darker, you get these, again, these deeper magenta browns and going all the way over to these deeper olive greens. Okay, so let's now just look at these really quickly. Now, these colors that are in this chart, they don't always match up to a photo. Sometimes they do. In this case, on the left, she aligns really well with the little bit of the cool light beiges from this chart, right around in here. And she looks lines up really well with the warmer tones. It turns out that she is warm, has warm undertones, and the woman on the left has cool undertones. And so with the warm undertones, it's a little bit easier to recommend colors versus the woman on the left, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then over here on the left, although you can't see it necessarily in this photo on her skin, but she is very dominantly yellow. She is a very light-skinned, olive skin tone individual with dusty hair. And you can see here that even though she doesn't have green in her skin, she still has sort of like almost a greenish quality to her. And that's not the photo. It's just because if I put a warmer color on her, it doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it look like she has warm tones either. And I can put this over here, and you can see that that's not really a great fit either. And again, I don't really like putting the color swatches of the skin on a photo. It's a little bit misleading. So I'm just trying to convey the concept here. She's this is a color pulled from about right over here in these olive greens and over here. And so likely she has cool undertones. Okay, so that is how we can kind of think about olive skin tone. It's someone that probably has a dominantly yellow skin tone over cool undertones, and you get this green effect, this greenish skin, olive skin tone, and sometimes when you're lighter, maybe even more of a dominantly yellow skin tone. Okay, so now for the next part of this video, we're going to talk about what colors to avoid and what colors to look for using the color wheel. And these concepts will be true for anyone that has a dominant coloring in their skin. So if you're dominantly have, maybe rosacea, pink or red in your skin, dominantly pink, this is often something that you want to balance as well. So these next set of tips will help you as well. The second part is out on the blog post. So the link to that blog post is in the description of this video. Go ahead and you can click on that, come to the blog post, and get the rest of the information about olive skin tone. I'm Jen Vax, and thank you so much for watching.